Let's get to this because, yeah, whatever. It's going to annoy the piss out of us, but fuck it. It'll also probably be fun because John Fugelsang is actually pretty good at debating guys like Andrew. He is funny. I mean, he's a comedian. I'm gonna shut up.
You have to bring back religion to America because without borders, law and order, and religion, you really don't have a country anymore.
All those things are systems of control. Weird how you're just like borders, religion.
We want religion brought back.
So the very foundation of the United States of America was indeed to be one nation under God. Nothing could.
Dang, Pep, we know you're a real one. Take care of family, so you don't, can help save the country after. Oh, thank you.
For the slew.
Uni doing any better? No, she is back in the hospital, and right now we are in. We have to wait and see. Timing sucks on this. Yeah.
Of attack against anyone who.
Oh, trust me. Like, this is why it's weird. I kind of feel like I live in a fucking simulation just with everything that's been going on with me and the frequency in which this stuff is happening. Yeah. I'll at least say this year specifically, 2025 was kind of not great.
Who is a conservative Christian in America.
Right-wing Christianity.
You know, but at the same time, it's like, dude, I love doing this. I love you guys, and I love hanging with you guys, and this has been my outlet. So I'll just say this much: thank you for being here, and genuinely, thank you for listening.
In America has been suckered for a very long time into aligning with power and authority instead of challenging it as Christ did. Donald Trump didn't get the love of evangelicals by promising to do a damn thing Jesus commanded of us. Right-wing Christianity does not fight for the things Jesus commanded and taught us to do.
We're not doing
that's
the persecuting doofus. So the thing is, it's so funny here. It's like even when we have full spectrum, even when we have full spectrum dominance, Jesus called people vipers like you.
Dude, hit the other cheek. I can take it.
I mean, this is where.
The fatal attack on a Mormon church in Michigan this weekend was interpreted by...
You see Nick Fuentes calling Erica Kirk weird? That would require me to know much about Nick Fuentes outside of what's reported. So no, sorry, I have not seen it.
There's more evidence of a very little attack on Christianity and its values.
She is weird, but I actually earlier today, I walked back what I said about her grieving and my attacks on it. Honestly, if she's burying herself in work, this is where, again, man, I had to put the mirror up and realize, oh, yeah, and maybe I was speaking from a place of, a little bit of, I get it, and then getting mad at everybody grieves in their own way.
Johnson commented that Christianity is the most persecuted religion on earth.
I hate to say, true.
And that it's time to get serious about it. Came just a week after Charlie Kirk's memorial.
Isn't Fuentes a proud gay incel? He called someone weird.
He was hailed as both a prophet and a martyr.
I'm not sure if he's proud.
In a service infused with abundant biblical commentary. For some, all this points to an overdue revival of Christian values in a culture which has sought to eradicate them. But others are warning about a rise in so-called Christian nationalism, hardline supremacy.
Yeah, it's literally hardline supremacy that you can. This is where I always tied it to, like, if you're afraid of Islamic extremism, then you have to call out Christian extremism. It's
this movement, which is
not much different.
Faith as a fig leaf.
It is, and it uses it as oppression. It is using the message of Jesus instead of actually living a godly life. You do this thing where you get off on the oppression of other people, which is the antithesis of Christianity. Well, you would think.
Compromising views, threatening to undermine the separation of church and state. We're going to debate this with three Christians, one a proud Christian nationalist, one a young moderate, and one who says conservatives have hijacked Christianity for their own malicious ends. Mm-hmm. This is Andrew Wilson, the host of The Crucible, John Fugelsang, author of Separation of Church
Fugs.
Hate, unpacking extremist politics, religion, and the urgent struggle for a compassionate America, and the host of the Isobel Brown Show on Daily Wire and a close friend of Charlie Kirk, Isobel Brown. Well, welcome to all three of you. Andrew Wilson, Donald Trump came out over the weekend and called this latest attack on the church in Michigan an attack on Christians in a post on his Truth Social platform. We don't actually know, as things stand, whether that was the motivation. We know that the suspect who died in all this was a former U.S. Marine, Thomas Jacobs.
Wait a minute. So now you're waiting to reserve judgment? What?
Sanford, and he had been pictured wearing a Trump T-shirt.
Oh my God, you're a parody of yourself.
With the slogan "Make liberals cry again," which may be an indication that he wasn't anti-Trump. We just don't know, as things stand, what his motivation was.
He wasn't anti-Trump. You listen to the palpable disdain in his voice for that.
Was for this.
It's almost like you understand that this kind of took a massive shit on your argument that the trans agenda, it's the trans agenda.
As so often with these kind of incidents, I always think it's prudent to take a beat and just try.
No, you don't. Bullshit, dude. Do you know how much you've been crowing about the fucking Tyler? What's his fuck?
And see if more information comes out as to why he may have done this. But Trump has gone out there on the attack, as he often does, and said this is an attack on Christians. What do you feel?
Well, I mean, Trump is just following the trends.
Is Andrew just on a show every day now? Yeah.
We remember what happened with Charlie Kirk when progressives tried to paint him as some right-wing graper. Turns out that that was all complete and total lies. They were doing damage control. They tried to paint him out to be a right-winger, clear up until it became irrefutable that he was not anymore. And then they just changed the narrative again. So Trump is just following the trends. It is the case that Christians are persecuted in the United States, have been for a long time. And they're going to continue to be. That's
perfect victims.
That's kind of our cross to bear. We were told
sitting there literally persecuting people and then going, we're so persecuted. We're so persecuted.
The case, in fact, that's a part of what being a Christian is. As to Trump following the trends and making the assumption, do I kind of agree that you should have caution on these things? I do, but I can completely understand why it would be.
Well, they're just going to make shit up. Yeah,
that he would have that reaction.
John Fugelsang, Benny Johnson posted about this attack on the church in Michigan. If a mosque was shut up every month, it would be a crisis for Muslims. If a synagogue was shut up every month, it would be a crisis for Jews. If a temple was shut up every month, it would be a crisis for Hindus. Christians, this is happening to us. Christianity is under attack.
Again, this was Church of Latter-day Saints. I thought that you guys actually minced words there. I mean, you guys do when it's convenient for you.
It's time to get serious about it. What's your response to that?
Also, the other ones were Christians. They were Catholic, but whatever, man.
I keep hoping that one of these preventable attacks will inspire our Christian friends on the right to want to make it a little bit harder for unstable white men to easily get weapons that are designed to kill lots of people really fast. I really hoped after the awful murder of Mr. Kirk that some of our friends on the right would agree that maybe it's far too easy for unstable 20-something males to get their hands on hardware and pop off and murder people at a political rally.
Who's the shithead with the cigarette? Andrew Wilson.
He was using an antique rifle.
It's the first online debate that I've ever had.
Dude, he was using. Hang on, he was using an antique rifle.
I know.
An antique bolt.
It was unsecured.
Legislation?
I didn't interrupt you once, my friend. I didn't interrupt you one time.
What legislation do you think would have even been passed that would have prevented
if his grandfather had been obliged to if his grandfather had been legally obliged to keep his gun secured at home, that shooting wouldn't have happened, and the Sandy Hook shooting would not have happened.
You can't even demonstrate that's true.
The Sensu cigarette.
It has the safe code.
You're not letting me finish.
This is the same guy that said to suck on like the vape, like the comfort vape. It's just like, brother,
you've interrupted me.
You're literally puffing down cancer sticks like
twice now. Piers, the deal is right-wing Christianity in America has been suckered, and you're really going to...
He does this anytime that he knows that there's a good point. He tries to do that shit right there.
I'm going to answer Piers's question,
We get it,
friend.
man.
I didn't interrupt you.
We get it.
Right-wing Christianity in America...
You're insecure with your argument.
...has been suckered for a very long time into aligning with power and authority instead of challenging it as Christ did. Donald Trump didn't get the love of evangelicals by promising to do a damn thing Jesus commanded of us. Right-wing Christianity does not fight for the things Jesus commanded and taught us to do.
He is right about this.
Right-wing Christianity...
You got... What?
Christianity fights for conservative Christian power over every level of society. They do not fight to welcome the stranger, as Christ commands in Matthew 25 and as God commands throughout the Old Testament. They do not fight for individuals and nations to care for the sick and the poor, as commanded by Christ in the judgment of nations.
You hear this?
They fight for right-wing conservative Christian power, and America is suffering from a gun plague where children are now killed by guns more than disease, more than they are killed by car accidents. And I keep praying This is exactly the sort of situation where religion based on love and empathy will come to our rescue. And yet, our conservative Christian friends are locked in this mindset that somehow personal freedoms matter more than the lives of Americans.
Isobel, you've been pulling...
hang on.
No, Fugelsang was spitting fast.
Let Andrew, I'll come back to you, but let Isobel react, because you've been pulling a lot of faces as you were listening to that.
Yeah, you know, Piers, I was on with you the day that Charlie was shot, actually. We were talking about the murder of Irina Zarutska on the train in Charlotte, and I was very baffled by what I was hearing then. Nothing could have prepared me for the slew of attack against anyone who is a conservative Christian in America the last 30
What? Are you going to counter his point, the fact that you guys don't live by Jesus's word?
seconds. There is not a single gun law on the books that would have prevented Charlie Kirk from being assassinated.
Yeah, actually, there is. Like the one he just mentioned, the one like having a law to secure the rifle in a locked safe
At a gun-free zone on the campus of Utah Valley University.
It wasn't gun-free. It was not gun-free. You are so wrong about that. It is completely legal to carry a gun on that campus. What the fuck? She's lying. She's blatantly lying about this.
When we saw the manifesto published to YouTube about the shooter at the Annunciation Catholic School in Minneapolis, you saw a very specific, detailed attack that was specifically against Christian children and their families, really warping in a very twisted,
Mentioning any of the other stuff there?
demonic sense, the mass with engravings and diary entries saying, "This
Where is
is
she
my
going
body."
with this?
I mean, we were watching a very coordinated attack going back to the Nashville shooting and to many other attacks on churches across the country over the past few years, of which there have been more than 500 attacks on Catholic churches in the United States in the last 5 years or so. This is clearly a specific attack against
She's playing
Christianity.
a shell game with shootings, and it's so fucking gross. Yeah, well, that's exact. The thing is, she's not engaging with the point that Fugelsang brought up about how they have bastardized Christianity and they use it for their hateful fucking stuff. She's kind of proven it.
In America, but let's pretend that it's not just about America for a second, because the truth is it's not. Christianity by the
Damn, this is a 3-on-1 debate. They always turn into that because Piers likes to pretend that he's independent.
numbers is by far and large the most persecuted religion on the face of the planet today.
He really does believe it too. You can tell.
In Nigeria, just a few days ago, more than 60 people were killed using hammers and machetes after attending mass at a Catholic church there in Nigeria. And I read a study the other day. Feel free to
God
fact
damn
check me
it.
on
I
this.
have heard about this my entire life in the evangelical sphere. Was always, oh, did you know in Africa they kill Christians for being Christians? Did you know
that more Christians have been
We are
slaughtered
so
in
oppressed.
Nigeria for being Christian in the last few years than Palestinians have been killed in
Oh
Gaza
my God,
during the midst of the
these
Israeli
assholes talk about oppression Olympics with fucking trans community and LGBT while also simultaneously crying about false bullshit all the time. They don't give a fuck about Christians in Africa. Shut up.
the war, but you don't see any protests happening in the United States about that today. So it's ridiculous to try to create a left versus right paradigm here or some sort of attack against the Republican Party when there
no.
very clearly is a manifestation of spiritual warfare and demonic satanic influence in our society trying to attack Jesus Christ in America today.
Meanwhile, our president literally does the antithesis of everything that Jesus stood for. Cool.
Andrew, I want to play a clip.
I'm not a Democrat.
I'm going to let Andrew respond here. Chris Hedge, a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, said on the Secular Talk podcast that Charlie Kirk's assassination was being used to create a new martyr for the movement of Christian nationalism, which he said is a backdoor to American
shout out Secular
fascism.
Talk.
Let's take a look.
When fascism comes to America, it won't be with swastikas and
Oh, it's Crystal and Kyle and friends.
jackboots and
You idiot.
it will be with the Christian cross and mass recitations of the Pledge of Allegiance. You really got a glimpse of that in the rally in Arizona or rally, whatever you want to call it, the memorial service for Kirk.
Now, Andrew, two questions for you. One is, what is your understanding of what Christian nationalism is? And as a Christian nationalist, are you concerned that it gets hijacked by people who may genuinely be white supremacists, fascists, and so on?
Well, not really. So the idea of Christian nationalism is just that Christians remain the culturally dominant force in the United States. That's it. That's the entire proposition. Everything else is an addition. So the gentleman over here, for instance, a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Is Jesus Christ God?
I believe so,
Can you
but I
answer
don't believe in imposing my opinions on others.
Okay, got you. So Jesus Christ is God. So all the religions are false?
No, I don't believe that at all. I believe in my house there are many mansions. So I believe God has many ways of the truth.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm better than anyone because Christ's movement is about humility. Christ's movement is not about
He knows nothing about that.
public domination.
he hasn't read shit about Christ's humility, or if he did, he was just like gay.
Nation and
So I
power.
just want to
It's
make sure
about
I got this
humility,
right.
my friends.
Are all other religions false?
Dude, we get it. Dude, he would try to debate, bro, fucking Jesus Christ himself.
I don't believe that at all. No, and I don't
don't
believe
believe that at
right-wing
all?
Christianity
Is
is
Islam
true either.
true?
Your
Is Islam
right-wing
true?
Christianity does not.
Answer my question, dude.
MAGA
Is Islam
does not
true?
fight for the
Is
teachings of Christ.
Islam true?
Why?
Is Islam true?
Stop falling for his shit. Like, honestly, I really do. It bothers me that people cannot just see through Andrew's bullshit.
Islam believes in the same God as Christians. Do you believe
So
we
it's
should love
true?
them?
Yeah, where the fuck were these people after the Charleston shooting in 2015?
Stranger is God
Do
and
they
Christ
believe
command, or do you
Jesus
believe
Christ
in
is
Donald
God?
Trump?
Wait. They believe Jesus Christ is
It's
God?
not my religion. They believe Christ
So,
is a
right, so
prophet.
then it's-
What is with the need for absolutes? What an asshat.
Oh,
Mary
it's
is
gotta
mentioned.
Well, because that's how he literally works in absolutes. That's the only way that he can have these discussions.
More-
Is like so his whole spiel or his whole shtick is to put like a false claim on you or make you try to support the most extreme take on your claim, and then just work in the absolute that you 1000% believe that, even if you say you don't.
in the Holy
Listen,
Quran,
I'm
and
gonna
she's
walk
mentioned
you-
in the
I'm gonna-
Bible.
I'm gonna-
Answer that.
I'm going to walk you through the logic here. If
Answer my question. Let people talk, you effing loser.
Jesus Christ is God.
What are the Christ
right?
teachings
then it
that
is
Trump
the
fights
case,
for, my friend?
Then it is the case.
What are the
that
gospel
Islam-
teachings your movement
Do you
fights
want me to
for?
answer
Your
your
movement
questions, or do you
uses
want to keep
Christ as a
filibustering?
prop.
No, he's doing the same thing that you were doing. It's kind of weird how it's like, oh, nothing's accomplished by that, Andrew. And honestly, like, it's almost like your bad faith.
And you
Stop
legislate
filibustering.
against his
Yeah, brother. Let me tell you something.
commands.
Stop filibustering.
Dude, you
so I can
interrupted
answer your
me.
question. So I was in the middle of. I asked you a single question and was getting to the
Fugelsang's actually doing all right.
follow up, and you go on these long diatribes.
You asked
Calm
two
down. Listen to what I'm
questions.
saying.
You asked two
Logically,
questions, my friend.
Like a formula. Nah, trust me. I've watched enough of his shit to just understand it now.
Logically, if it,
Where it's like, all right, bro, can the fucking personality? We get it. It's a show, but I'm breaking kayfabe here.
it's the
Like, I want to have a conversation with the actual Andrew Wilson. Can I call you Andy?
case that Jesus Christ is God, and that is true, then Islam has to be false, and you have to proclaim that that is the case as a follower
Yes,
of
too
Christ.
bad the
thing
founding
that's so
fathers
funny-
didn't have that
the thing
system in
that's
our
so
country.
funny. Well, the thing that's so funny is that you say that you're a progressive Catholic, you're worried about Christians in power. You say that Christians are out here. Oh, Andrew, Christians are out here.
It's not about being worried about Christians in power. See, you're misappropriating his argument. He's worried about Christians in power misappropriating everything about Christianity to use it as an authoritarian fucking scapegoat.
They
Or-
should be
I don't even-
looking at these other immigrants
Fucking
as
done.
religious
My brain's cooking
refugees.
this
That's what you said. Your own
They're actually
words.
Christian
Yeah,
refugees
If Jesus is God, we are all God, then we must treat each other like gods.
at our
Yeah, there
border.
you
They are
are, though.
Christian
So how come
refugees
you- how
that
come you
y'all have
lobbied
been
for Kamala
socialized to
Harris?
call illegals.
Then how come you lobbied for Kamala Harris, raised money for the hair?
The hell? Why am I having a stream problem? Over on YouTube. Give me 1 second, guys. Huh. Getting no error codes. That was weird. Let me toy with this and turn this one down. Okay. Boom. 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 That should work. All right. Now we can get back to it. My bad.
Harris campaign's a Democrat operative. When she said that she wanted staunch border policies, she literally went to Guatemala and said, "You're not allowed to come. Do not come." Her
I know
exact
she
words,
did.
"Do
I'm not a
not come."
Democrat, my friend. I'm
And
not a
you-
Democrat.
then
Her
but you
policies
just happen
cause
to
less
raise money
harm
for
than
them.
Trump's.
You happen to be a Democrat
Her
operative.
policies
raising money for
cause
Kamala
less
Harris,
harm than
though.
Trump's, my friend.
Give me a-
And her policies
okay.
were closer to the
Then
actual
that would be
teachings
the
of Christ than
exact-
Trump. Let me ask you a
Then that
Dude, take your medication, calm down, hear him out. The thing is, we get that your debate style is just hearing yourself speak and then just being like, "Oh, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. You
May I-
like that's how he does things too. Like he'll make fun of a stammer. He'll make fun of all that shit, dude. Like he really is kind of just like somebody that you shouldn't even engage with because he's just so bad fast.
exact
one
same
question.
logic that we
I figured that out just because
you would
May
have.
I respectfully ask you one question? Can
You're
I ask
such
you
a
one question?
hypocrite, by the
Will
way.
you please?
seeing it like this is the thing, man. Like careful, he does a lot of interviews and he does a lot of this stuff, so a lot of people could probably corroborate what I am saying about him being just, a character, because he's perfectly fine when he's not on, not when he's not live. I can't fucking talk.
Right.
What is wrong with
Well,
me?
may I
just have a
please ask you
stroke?
one question now that you've asked me
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
many, and now that you've
Yeah.
called me names? Dude, hit the other cheek. I can take it. Call me more names. I want to ask you something. Please tell me one actual
heretic,
gospel
false
commandment
Christian,
or
total
teaching
liar,
of Christ.
complete fraud.
Please tell me one actual gospel. Please tell us all, and the viewers watching, one actual gospel commandment or teaching of Christ that the MAGA movement fights for. Not what conservative Christians like. Something Christ, who is a mascot to this movement, actually commanded of us. Chapter and verse, if you can.
Sure.
Welcome the
If it's
stranger. Individuals and nations take care of the poor. Stop executing people. Your
you want
movement.
me to answer, or you
Let him
can
answer the question then.
Please
Do you
do.
want me to
Andrew.
answer, or
Please
are you
do.
going to answer? So the truth of the matter is
Give me
that
one.
if you're really as concerned with the poor as you claim, you would be all about the MAGA movement, who's trying to stop job
I'm asking you
crushing
for one
immigration
teaching of the poor.
to the United States. I'm giving it to you. Calm.
That has nothing to do with Jesus Christ. He literally talks about this in 2 Corinthians, how we need to abolish borders and have our brethren with us. What are you talking about?
down.
Christ
Your
commands
logic
us to
in your-
welcome
the
Calm
stranger.
down
Don't
so
take
I
it,
can
we
answer
can't
your
hear.
question. Calm down so I can answer your
Load up another sensu cigarette?
question.
Yeah, no
lunatic.
shit.
I'm going to answer it precisely. Here's how it
The
works.
names of this guy.
If it is the case that you make these bold claims like you do in your book, that Christians ought to be paying taxes
Of course, Piers only steps in for defense of Andrew. Yes. Notice we watch enough of his bullshit to just be like, yes. So I was about to say agenda free.
for the poor so that we could
Yeah, right.
for the poor, we got to give it all to the poor.
Kinda
That's
works for
what
him,
your
though.
view is.
That's not my
Then it would be
suggestion,
the
bro. That's
case
Jesus' suggestion.
then it would be the case. Then it would be the case that you would not want these job-crushing waves of mass migration coming to the United States, which displace
teaching of Jesus,
the poor.
Andrew. Just one.
They
Give me
displace
one.
the poor.
Give me one
I
teaching
just
of Christ.
explained to you that
Give me
if
one
it's the
gospel.
case-
Christ you
One gospel. Literally. One gospel, chapter and verse.
I just
Matthew 6. I have a few.
did. I just explained to you, if you really want to uplift the poor, you don't do it with crushing
What
mass
Jesus
migration.
teaching did you
crazy.
explain?
I just explained to you that by your view
How about peace? I believe it was Luke 6.
of what Christians
What
ought to be
teaching?
doing, we are doing it. Do you not understand this?
Christ
it's an internal
says that
critique of your
individuals
crazy
and
position.
nations will be judged. Christ says in Matthew 25 that individuals and nations will be judged, heaven or hell,
And
by
tell
how
me
they
this.
care for the sick.
Oh my God, he really is he's a piss poor Christian because he doesn't know jack shit about the Bible.
What?
Care for the poor,
Yeah.
welcome the stranger, and care for those in
Okay.
prison. MAGA legislates and votes against these commandments.
That wokey Jesus in
Yeah,
his
so
bed sheets.
And what was the
uses
Kamala
Jesus as a
Harris?
prop
What was
to
the
gain
Kamala
power.
What does Kamala Harris have to do with Jesus' word?
Harris Christian
What does Kamala Harris have to do with Jesus' word and literally opening the borders to your brethren?
doctrine that you were for?
Kamala Harris is closer by light years to the teachings of Christ than the
What?
Republican
What?
Party, but I don't consider
Tell
the
me
Democrats.
what?
I'm
Tell
not a
me what?
Democrat. Where
You
on the
I think
treatment of
you
immigrants, on
campaign for-
anti-racism,
Time out,
on women's
time out. Let me-
equality,
time
on
out.
helping
Let
the
me bring
poor,
let me
on
bring
making
Isobel in.
healthcare more accessible, on having less gun violence. I could do it all day, my friend.
All right, Isobel.
So was that the epistle
Hang on,
made it
let
up?
Isobel
Jesus said, "Thou
talk.
shalt not have guns."
Gentlemen,
Didn't
let
quote
the
Jesus
lady,
once.
let the
He
lady
didn't
on the
quote
panel
Christ
talk,
once.
please.
Actually, I could have this conversation about the whole concept of a bullet being the most alien thing to Jesus Christ that you could ever introduce to him.
Isobel.
Piers, I think this is precisely the problem because it just goes to show how in Western society today we are living in two completely alternate realities, largely based on the media that we are consuming, where you genuinely see this belief parroted among very mainstream Christians that the teachings and the policies
It's so dumb when people who read the Gospels follow idiots like Andrew and Trump and think they are good Christian men. Like, what the fuck? What do these asshats know? Have to do with what do these asshats have to do to make people turn away screaming?
of someone like Kamala Harris, who actively told
well, again, most of it like most of the white Christians, they're afraid of everything. So when guys like him reaffirm their fears, they're gonna listen to him. Like, that's why pastors are so successful.
Christians at her own rally. You folks are at the wrong rally. Please leave.
You're literally living in fear of Christ's judgment, like, just in order like to be like, oh, I don't want to make a mistake. Oh, hold on.
There is no place for you here.
And then you have the other side that's just like, whatever. He already forgave me. I'll be as much of a piece of shit as possible. Kind of like my man Andrew here. Like, he doesn't read anything about like treating his body like a temple, which is not just a Jewish tenet.
That her policy would have been better for the United States of America. This is a woman who championed the abortion of more than 1 million babies per year in the United States of America.
Again, you guys are making the debate that you want to have with somebody else. John Fugelsang said, I'm glad that Fugelsang's just like, whatever, man. This isn't the debate that I was here to have.
America, including through all 9 months of pregnancy.
I think that Piers Morgan's producers literally told Andrew and her to have these things ready, like, because this is they know They know that this is, it's like, oh, we got to put him on the back foot. Let's see if we can get him to say something that'll be spicy.
And partial birth abortion, which
Bible's
is
not
what
against abortion.
we believe in the sanctity
The Bible's literally not against abortion. Have you ever read Leviticus?
of life,
Like, Jesus Christ.
especially as the Catholic Church. I should know myself, and maybe it's time to crack open a catechism to remind ourselves of
Okay. Again.
that. But
Abortions are legal and free in Israel right now. Judaism doesn't
when it
ban them.
comes to promoting actual immigration policy
From that
centers
very
the
Christian nation of Israel.
And when
It's
it comes
also
to
the funny Christian ideal of prosperity gospel. They venerate the rich, successful men because they believe God has chosen them or whatever.
centering immigration policy, that
Christ's
champions
religion
the
doesn't ban abortion.
person, it starts with
Yeah.
stopping the horrifying
Fugelsang's right.
human trafficking of children and the rape of babies.
Literally, the Christian religion does not talk about abortion. If anything, it actually makes it okay. There are more verses in favor of abortion than there are ones condemning it.
Babies and toddlers that happens on the southern border
We
every
agree.
day. When it starts by lifting people out of poverty, it
And also in the Catholic religion, they just believe that every baby that dies goes right to purgatory.
starts by giving people
day?
actual positions of employment that give them a long-term trajectory for
Or hell. I mean, some of them just believe that they go to hell because they weren't baptized.
financial success. These are Christian values, but our twisted, disgusting media in America and beyond
I will not judge anybody that laughs at their own jokes.
has allowed for a very inverse reaction from Christians to believe in this version
I will not be that kind of pot.
of toxic empathy where we are supposed to tolerate and endorse evil and call that following Christ. And I think in the last few
Pot meat pot. I think I brought the wrong one, man.
weeks have been a really powerful example for Christians around the world to realize we no longer can tolerate demonic evil in the
Can we use kettle? Who's got a lighter?
spiritual warfare.
How
that
did
is
you
governing-
feel, Isabel? How did you, Isabel, just on that point, how did you feel when at Charlie Kirk's memorial, his widow Erica made an incredibly powerful announcement of forgiving the killer of her husband, but then Donald Trump followed and said he hates his enemy,
Oh, that smile just wiped right off your fucking stupid face.
and he's still trying to work on the forgiveness bit. What did you feel as a Christian? What did you feel about that? The two exchanges.
Yeah, sure. If you listen to the president's full speech, he goes on to laugh about that, and it clearly was delivered as a joke. I'm not here to speak for the
Oh
president.
no, I
of the
think he
United
meant it.
But I
I don't think he
can't
was
say,
joking.
just based on every
That's his friend saying that, dumbass.
single speech that was given at that event, other than the president's, and
Dude, oh my God. I just love how they're like, he was joking. It was a kid. It was just riffing, you know? It's totally, I might disagree with it, but it was just a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke.
if you took the time to watch all 6 hours of it, you can see this was not a rah, right-wing political rally.
What the fuck? No, but we saw the clips that we needed to see. I saw Erica Kirk come out to Pyro, hug Trump, and he did the thing from Wedding Crashers. And then, we also got to see some blatant misuse of Christianity. And then literally Trump go, Erica's great, but I disagree with her. I hate my enemies. It's like, actually, you know that Jesus said to love to actually love your enemy and to understand your enemy, and that I guess whatever. I did that thing where I read the Bible. Oops.
Every single
Don't do that, guys. If you want to be a Christian like Andrew and this lady, make sure you don't read the Bible. Like, God, how did I must have screwed up trying to be a good Christian.
speaker, including President Trump, took their time on stage to spread the gospel, to share love
He kept squeezing her too. Yeah, it was weird.
of God, to say we can no longer be afraid of proclaiming our faith in the
No, they
world
didn't.
based on
I mean, just blatantly, it was weird.
political
No,
backlash.
they
And
didn't. Yeah,
I saw one particular take that really bothered me from Destiny,
John, I actually appreciate the fact that he's just like, wait, what? No.
who I know has been a common guest here on
Because
the
he
Piers Morgan
definitely
Show,
knows. He's
of
like
people
me. He knows the Bible.
saying, this was indicative of a Nazi rally. This was completely indistinguishable
I keep forgetting that that's the difference. I mean, if we're going to break it between right-wing commentator, left-wing commentator, he's a Christian, and then it's just like, oh yeah, we can read.
from a Nazi
Reading comprehension.
rally led by Adolf Hitler. I don't know the last time a Nazi rally encouraged you to forgive your enemies and the people who violently assassinate your husband.
Well,
who
also,
lived-
Nobody called it a fucking Nazi rally. Like, seriously. This is, honestly, guys, this is where I said, like, they were going to hyperbolically use everything, all of it. Just, they called us Nazis once, so we're just going to fucking say that they always call us Nazis, and they believe it all.
So,
Only one speaker
also,
did.
well, hang on, just to be clear, also, there were a lot of Jewish people at this so-called Nazi rally, which a bit like the Madison Square Garden rally before the election, when they tried to call that the new version of the 1938 rally at MSG, was completely absurd. There was actually a Holocaust survivor sitting in the front row. Let me come back on this issue, if I may, John, to your book and your interpretation of Christian nationalism. I want to just quote the definition that you give of it on page 20 of your book. At its core, Christian nationalism is the belief that the United States was founded as a Christian nation and should remain one today, with laws and policies guided by a particular vision of Christianity. Unlike ordinary religious faith, which is personal and spiritual, Christian nationalism...
Is everything a joke? Then when is it? When is he serious? I can't anymore. Like, what the fuck? Why joke at that time? Yeah, it's a fucking memorial, and he's doing yucks.
...is political.
You know, putting together a tight five at a memorial for somebody that was akin to a large funeral. I mean, they call it a funeral when it's useful for them, but then if you say Trump did this at a funeral, they're like, oh, hold on, it was a memorial.
Urges national identity with religious identity, insisting to be a true American is to be a true Christian and vice versa. I mean, I suppose what I would say to that is America historically has been a Christian country. 62% of Americans today are Christian, which is nearly two.
That seems highly overestimated.
Two-thirds
90% in the 90s.
Yeah, but my point being that it is still a large majority Christian nation. So
yes,
the idea that all of them are being political by identifying as Christian nationalists.
Didn't say that.
No, I'm just saying, if you extrapolate your statement that it's the...
Nah, you're not extrapolating. You're putting words in his mouth. That's a different thing, Piers.
It's the Christian nationalism is political. All those people would identify, I would think, as Christian nationalists, right? Uncensored is supported by OneSkin.
Again, if you're doing the thing where you're just like, the literal term of this,
Well, only about 30% of the country identifies with the main traits of Christian nationalism, and yet they make up 2/3 of the Supreme Court. But it is a very powerful movement that seeks to insert a very narrow, again, Christ-free version of Christianity onto every level of our government. The Founding Fathers were very thorough about this. Our official religion is all and or none. And if you are fighting against other religions because you think you're superior because of Jesus, then you don't actually follow Jesus. Because his entire movement was about humility, uplifting the less fortunate, fighting for the marginalized, not...
Yeah, I was about to say, are we actually going to focus on him so we don't have to focus on her shit? Like, her literal shit-taking, like, not even grin. She literally looks like she's popping out a poop, just...
Total right-wing domination of politics or the school board. Again, I don't see any actual teachings of Christ that the right wing fights for. The only thing Donald Trump and Jesus have in common is they both spent a lot of time around hookers and they both use ghostwriters.
All right, Andrew, Andrew, let me just ask you a question, which is this.
Happy to talk about Scripture, by the way. Happy to talk about what Christ actually says versus Republican policies.
Me too.
Okay, Andrew, my question for you would be this. Under Christian nationalism, what happens to Jews, Muslims, Hindus, atheists? I mean, what happens to those people if the identity of the United States is to be a Christian nationalist country?
She really is just an airhead, dude. If you get past her, like, her preconceived bits, then look at her. Like,
then where does that leave people?
She doesn't have that confident smile anymore, that's for sure.
Who don't identify as Christian nationalists.
Yeah, same thing that happens when you have state religions in nations right now. Nothing. So there's Western nations, people forget about this, that have churches. They actually have the church of whatever the nation is. And guess what? You're still free to pray how you want. Guess what? Here in the United States, when it's 95% Christian, identified 95% as Christian, you can still be a Jew.
95%?
And yet they're under siege, right? They're persecuted, right?
That would be a bonus in our favor that we're not doing the persecuting, doofus. So the thing is, it's so funny here. It's like, even when we have full spectrum, dominance.
Yeah, the names of this Christian. Here, give me 1 second. Yay! Thank you for the 2. Give me 1 sec.
Earl Grey $2. She and Andrew look like they have poop knives.
Ooh, that was an old school hit. Ooh. That one hit.
Jesus called people vipers like you. Even when we have full spectrum dominance in culture.
He was calling out the conservative religious bosses when he did that, my friend.
We are far better and leadership capacities than secular atheists are. Guys like this, their entire
you should be in power, right?
The entire
power for the Christian, yes, power of others,
yes. Of what you want is just gay sex, right? Isn't that really what your criticism is?
No, sir. Now you're lying about me because the argument makes you uncomfortable.
What are you upset?
No, sir.
What are you upset about cultural Christians for? What are you actually upset about here?
Hey, he got
Christians are in power. What do you think's going to happen to you? What do you think's going to happen to you if Christians are in power? What?
I think that the founding fathers were very specific more than once and said in the Treaty of Tripoli, ratified by Washington, signed by Adams, the government of the United States is in no way founded on the Christian religion. I don't consider your movement to be of Christ, my friend. I don't consider your movement to be of Christ.
Are you gonna step in and shut Andrew up and let him talk, or are you gonna tell Fugelsang to shut up?
Okay, if everyone talks at the same time, I can promise you. Hang on.
Trump's trying to ban an entire religion from entering the country, my friend.
If everyone talks at the same time, I can guarantee you one thing: nobody can understand.
Terrorists from entering the country.
Nobody's talking over each other right now. They're making a point counterpoint. The thing is, you just lost the narrative that you were trying to keep here.
No one will understand what anyone says if you all talk over each other. Please, guys, if you talk over each other, no one can hear a word you're all saying. Isobel.
The founding fathers were actually quite clear that you were expected to understand a working knowledge of submission to God in order to be an active participant in governance in the United States.
No. What? No. That's just wrong.
13 original states.
Not in government. No, they actually made sure to put stuff in our Constitution that made abundantly clear that we didn't do that.
All of them, every single original state constitution of the 13 states required a declaration of faith to serve in the state government. 9 of them required you to have a declaration of faith as a Christian to serve in the
Yes, notice how that wasn't a federal mandate.
state government. The Declaration
and yet the
of
U.S. Constitution forbids it.
Yes.
Our
Thank you.
relationship to
No,
God.
it refers it to the 10th Amendment. Have you heard of the 10th Amendment?
Yes, I have. And guess what? It doesn't give you the freedom to do that. It actually it makes sure that you understand that there is inherently a separation of church and state. And if they want to enjoy those tax-free statuses, then they got to keep it that way.
And they had a better.
Yeah, Andrew, keep laughing. The thing is, dude, we get it. You're very insecure. Keep laughing, keep smoking, keep doing, keep shouting over him, keep gish galloping. You're not engaging in any of his points because you understand that he is bodying you when it comes to the actual merits of the argument.
The First Amendment forbids a religious test.
All right, let Isobel finish her point, then I'll come to the others.
In fact, the book.
He's dead on about all this, and look at how confident he is in his knowledge. Where these two are, what? Whoa, that's crazy. Whoa.
Of Deuteronomy is the most quoted book in America's founding documents by leaps and bounds, more than any second.
Yeah, but then the Book of Deuteronomy also actually condones abortion. And killing the first son, that kind of shit. God was pretty big on that shit back then. But then you guys do this convenient thing, New Covenant. We don't, no, New Covenant. Wait, crap.
Secular text. So the very foundation of the United States of America was indeed to be one nation under God, a Christian.
No, it wasn't. You are conflating this hard when they did a hard no in the Constitution that you claim to hold dear. Just because you don't agree with it this is the problem. This is literally the fucking problem right here. Is this understanding of our government, of our Constitution, the bad faith arguments? She's literally doing this because she's just no, I don't agree with it, and I think that honestly what Trump's doing is great, and it's just you know what, we're totally on God. Jesus would totally be on our side. That's totally right.
But the founding fathers also wanted to have...
Or Deuteronomy, am I right, guys?
Hang on. The founding fathers also wanted to have a clear separation between...
Shut up, you radical leftist.
...between church and state for the United States, didn't they?
Not really.
Okay, well, that's interesting. So, Andrew, am I not right in assuming that, Andrew?
You're not right in assuming that. They didn't want an establishment clause at the federal level for a national religion. States were allowed to have their own religions, and they did. They did have their own religions. She's absolutely right. You could.
Yeah, and then we went from 13 to how many?
Vote in many of the states unless you declare.
And we also saw that, I don't know, that might have been causing some problems because all of a sudden we had the Protestant and Catholic situation happening here a little bit. You negate this one. You guys play nice now and claim to be under one umbrella, but I don't know, brother.
That you were
being kind of fucking disingenuous with your religious history.
Part of the faithful. This is just all revisionist history. We have the 10th.
He just said the words revisionist history.
Amendment, which says that if these
Andrew Wilson, folks,
powers are not given to the United States government, they go to the prospective states. The states have their own religious institutions. Mr. Viper over here is a complete liar. Always has been. And his book, he's full of it.
The concept of the separation of church and state in our founding documents.
The same name Jesus said.
It's not, I have to say, Andrew, it's not very Christian. It's not very Christian to keep hurling personal insults at another person on the panel, is it?
Well, then Jesus, he called guys.
I don't remember Jesus saying, "Thou shalt go out and call everyone you don't like and do this."
He did. He called them vipers all the time. I don't know what to tell you. He did.
He called conservative religious authorities those words.
Yeah, he literally called the Church of Jerusalem that. Like, you know that whole story where, I'm not sure if you guys are up on your religious history, but in Matthew, he did this thing, right? Where he was just like, he goes to the temple of Jerusalem and he sees a bunch of merchants in the temple, and he's just like, this will not do. So he decides to go full WWE and just like start flipping tables, smashing chairs, and then and confronting, like he said, the conservative leaders of the church at that time.
People who are trying to utilize rigorism against,
and also, the Church of Rome that was bastardizing a lot of, his father's teachings in order to justify a lot of, heinous shit.
Christians. It would be exactly who
kind of like today.
Christ would call vipers.
I'm using Jesus against hypocrites.
Let me ask John. All right, hang on, don't all talk at the same time, please. John, let me ask you this: you believe that
Jesus was woke?
nationalism is
for real.
against the American Constitution? Why?
Because the founders were very specific about not wanting to have an official state religion. Our official religion is all and or none. The problem is the movement of Christian nationalism is as against the Bill of Rights as they are against the actual teachings of Jesus, which is why you will never see our right-wing friends fighting to put any Jesus quotes on any buildings. Jesus never mentions abortion. God asserts that a fetus is property in Exodus 21, that a woman's life has more value in his eye. God gives abortion tips for pregnant unfaithful wives in Numbers chapter 5. That's why
Thank you, the Book of Numbers. I forgot.
Abortion's not banned in Jesus' religion.
Yes.
And that's why God and Jesus and Moses and...
Dude, can your eyebrows, raise any higher on your face, lady?
Paul and the prophets never once condemn ending pregnancies or say what the penalty for ending a pregnancy should be. Am I saying Jesus was pro-abortion? No. What I'm saying is for 45 years in my country, Piers, right-wing Christians have been groomed to prioritize something Christ never talked about.
This is my outrage face.
And then vote against all the things he actually...
I'm on a panel show. This is how I get attention.
...commanded. Jesus was against the death penalty more than once. Not a fan of killing the sinner. Never mentioned abortion. And yet you can't run for office as a Republican unless you want to criminalize abortion, have the government force citizens to be pregnant against their will, pretend that comes from Jesus, and also think Jesus was wrong about not executing people.
Isobel, I get the feeling you don't entirely agree.
No, not one iota of me agrees with that statement, Piers, and nor
Where
should
does the
any
Bible
good
ban it?
in Scripture. It starts with a very simple commandment in the 10 Commandments: "Thou shalt not murder." Let's take off our Catholic hats for a
Judaism
second.
does not consider a fetus to be a full life.
Yes, literally.
Abortions are legal and free in Israel right now.
In biomedical sciences, and science is unequivocally clear that human life begins at conception. There is a genetically unique individual
The Bible
who has
disagrees.
Literally, the Bible disagrees, dummy.
before and
Dude, he's wrecking her.
will never exist again. That is a living organism.
But you know what sucks? A lot of Republicans are watching this just like, yeah, she's making good points.
And if that species is in fact a human being, which it is, it should be required that
Yeah, she's forgetting about the letter Thomas Jefferson wrote to the Danbury Baptist Association that explicitly outlined separation. The Supreme Court used it as the cornerstone to interpret the First Amendment.
Give that person the same dignity, respect, and human rights of any other person on earth. This is this toxic empathy twisting concept of the American church that has been hijacked by left-wing politics, where you can look at a human being waving at you on an ultrasound, just like my daughter did at 11 weeks old, where I could count every single bone in her hand.
As did my son.
Tell you that the death penalty should be outlawed from society because human beings should have rights
Jesus
and dignity.
said that.
Also look at a baby and tell you that that child is worthy of literal human sacrifice. It is disgusting to me.
Okay, Andrew.
And I'm just saying that the Bible never bans it. Jesus bans the death penalty. This is a movement that doesn't fight for the stuff Jesus talks about. They fight for the stuff conservative.
Wait. See, this is the dirty trick where it's like, no, you got to give him, if you're going to do 2-on-1, then you have to at least give him double the time to sit here and retort. Like, Piers, you're not part of this.
Christians prioritize.
Okay, let me bring Andrew.
Executions, yes.
Let me bring Andrew in here. Andrew.
Yeah, so the thing is funny is he keeps on citing Israel as though that has not become a much more secular nation. There are Orthodox Jews who fight over abortion all the time.
Religion.
Yeah, it's literally always been part of it.
All the time, Orthodox Jews fight over abortion because of the idea of ensoulment, sir. And
no. I'm sorry, especially the ones that like Hasidics. No.
What does your Catholic dogma say about ensoulment? What does it say? Your Catholic dogma, you, the self-described Catholic, what does your dogma say about the...
Self-described? You fucking prick. Honestly, wow, dude. I don't know. That just touched my, ex-Christian nerve where it's like people used to say that, as a self-described Catholic. Wow.
soulmate of
That's insanity, dude.
a fetus. Can you tell me?
I was raised Catholic, sir, but
Then
my church is
answer my
against the teachings
question.
of Christ on many areas.
Answer my question.
Can
What
I-
is the dogma?
Does God-
what is the dogma of the Catholic Church, which you described yourself
The
as a
Catholic
quote,
Church
progressive
says,
Catholic?
the Catholic Church says conception. The
Here we go with the absolutes. This is what he does.
Bible says first breath. My point here is that the Bible
So
does
you're a
not
progressive
ban it.
Catholic who
Y'all
doesn't
have
believe in your dogma.
prioritized something the Bible never forbids, and you vote and legislate against the stuff Christ actually talked about.
So let me get
That's
this
what
right.
I'm talking
You're a
about here.
progressive.
Does God, Andrew,
you're a
does God, let me
progressive
ask you a
Catholic
question
that
back.
doesn't
Does
believe
God,
in your own dogma.
Andrew,
Is that right? You don't believe in
I
your
don't
own
really
dogma
know if the
as a
Pope would consider me a
progressive
Catholic anymore. No, I think the
that's
church
right.
is wrong
So why
about a
did
lot
you
of things,
describe
Andrew. Some of
yourself
us go
as a
beyond it.
progressive Catholic? Why did
Because
you
that's how
describe
I was
yourself
raised.
as
Let me ask you a
progressive
question.
Catholic?
Andrew,
Because you were trying to give
does
credibility
God-
to a Democrat. That's why.
Andrew, does God knowingly ensoul fetuses that he knows are going to be aborted?
According
Yes,
to Catholic dogma,
babies
yes.
are people.
So
Jeremiah
God
1:5,
puts a soul in a baby that he knows is going to be...
Oh, he got him. No, because there's more than one. There's more than one thing that just is like, no, this is why baptism is important there, folks.
So God puts a
Isaiah
soul in a
chapter
baby that he knows will be
49, do you
aborted?
realize that by your logic you would be denying the omnipotence of God, that God does not know you're going to die before you die? Do you believe that?
Then why would he put the baptism clause in, doofus?
You just said Jesus Christ is
Jesus.
God.
I'm not denying that at all. I'm asking you, does God put a soul...
Well,
Does
then
God
you
put a
would have
soul...
He's doing this to prove a point on baptism.
Hang on,
What
okay,
if he
hang on. Let me hang on. I want to ask John a question, just to round things off here, because we mentioned Charlie Kirk a lot. I watched a lot of the Charlie Kirk service, and I found a lot of it profoundly moving, I have to say. Not least of all, the crowd themselves. I did not get the feeling I was at some, full-on political rally. Trump did what Trump does, and he obviously made some of it political. But actually, most of the speakers, as I think Isobel said, really talked up other things.
Okay, what? Did they talk? Hey, we should love our neighbors. We should definitely love those leftists. We should go and preach to them, and we should try to convert them.
Charlie Kirk stood for. But the overriding feeling I got was of a religious
Okay, and was it about Jesus's love and compassion and understanding?
ceremony here, paying tribute to somebody who, at the forefront of everything he stood for, was his Christian faith. And the one thing I can absolutely guarantee, as a consequence of the brutal murder of Charlie Kirk, is that I think there will be a definite increase in the number of young people identifying as Christians, and they will
Well, just hope they don't read the fucking Bible, man.
probably identify as Christian conservatives. I mean, that, John, I think is almost an inevitable consequence of what happened. What do you think?
I mean, it sounds like you're huffing a lot of hopium right now because, in record numbers, the youth just went, nah, MAGA's not for us.
I don't care what they call themselves. I wish Christians would follow, believe in, and fight for the things Jesus actually talked about, as opposed to the things conservative Christians have been groomed to fight for and prioritize, which often have nothing to do with the teachings of Christ. There is no Jesus-based defense of Donald Trump support. You look at immigration alone, you have to reject God of the entire Old Testament, who commanded us to treat the alien as one of our own. You have to reject Jesus, who said that who said that the way you treat the immigrant is the way you treat him. I need someone to explain to me why Donald Trump's right and God and Jesus are wrong. I don't
Great.
care how
I'll
people
explain it.
identify.
Okay, I
love many conservative
wants to
Christians, and I'm
explain
not
that.
talking about the
Yeah, I'll
conservatives.
explain it.
Talking about the
It's the
right-wingers.
same.
All right, hang on,
It's the
Andrew,
same
explain
exact
that.
logic. Yeah, it's the same exact logic that he used when he was raising money for Kamala Harris, who said we have to have secure borders, told Guatemalans can't come into the nation, and said, quote, geez, I did this now as justification because otherwise I would look like a hypocrite, because she was the lesser of two evils. We can use the exact same argument.
Yeah.
The exact same argument. It's the lesser of two evils to have a wide open border where human trafficking can occur.
No one called for a wide open border. No one called for that. You're bearing false witness.
You did. You said the religious refugees. We should look at them as religious refugees and just be totally
Jesus
accepting.
calls for an open border,
That's
yes.
what you said
Jesus
we should
called
do
for
and
an
how
open
Christians
border.
should behave.
God
This is
called
why
for
we
an
can't
open
listen
border,
to you.
and Ronald
This is
Reagan
why
called for
we
an open
can't
border and
listen to
amnesty.
you, because, sir, you're a hypocrite.
I haven't
The very
called for
thing you
that.
accuse us
No,
of,
I'm not.
you yourself did.
Why is
You
Jesus
raised
wrong
money
about the
for
border,
Kamala
Andrew?
Harris, who had the same,
Why
who
is
had the same
Jesus
crackdown
wrong?
border policies.
Dude, she was going to hurt less people, and it's been proven, by the
No,
way.
she
There's
would have
several
hurt
thousand
more
folks
people with
overseas
human
that
trafficking.
would be
you know
alive
something
if
about-
USA...
hang on.
Maybe he brought it back to Kamala. Don't, dude.
Hang on.
She would have hurt
You know the
more
thing about the
people with
border,
human trafficking.
the thing about the border debate which makes me laugh. Today, two clips have gone viral on X, and it's of Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton both talking about the southern border in a way that today, the woke left would describe as speaking in a fascist way.
Yeah, because he just explained it. Oh my God. Fugelsang actually just dropped that little nugget where he was just like, yeah, because it was an anti-Republican sentiment at that point. Weird how you guys do this thing where all of a sudden you start mixing and you're just like, well, that's a leftist idea. Oh, that was a right-wing idea. keeping those masses confused enough to keep fighting
about illegal immigrants.
Because then you can do this thing where you're just like, well, I agree with you on this subject, but I disagree with you on this subject.
And that just shows me that
the left called them that back in the 90s, Piers.
A lot of hypocrisy on all sides, but
back in the 90s.
It certainly used to be the norm for Democrat leaders to talk in a way that they now pretend is talking like a fascist, which doesn't reflect...
And Ronald Reagan called for amnesty and open borders, Piers. It's gone back and
Ronald
forth on
Reagan
both sides
also
over the
said a
years.
country without a strong border is not a country.
He didn't call for open borders.
But Ronald
what are you
Reagan
talking about?
He did call for
That's
open borders.
amnesty
Ronald
is
Reagan's
not
argument
open
was let him
borders.
come
No,
over
he
here
didn't.
and work.
He didn't
Reagan
call for
also said if there's open borders...
What?
Piers, your viewers can Google this. Reagan said when they're done...
Yeah, I was about to say, this is one of those things that you can find. Like, and if Piers had, like, I don't know, like a little bit of professionalism, he would just be like, here, you know what? We'll bring up the clip.
John, Reagan literally said,
that's not
if a country
open borders,
doesn't have a strong border, it's not a country, right?
Yes.
That is not
Reagan used the term, and Reagan gave amnesty to millions. My question is, why is Donald Trump right and God and Jesus are wrong?
Well, if you ask Trump,
why is Kamala right and God and Jesus are wrong?
No, you're not answering the question, Andrew. Why are God and Jesus wrong on abortion?
First
no,
of all,
it's not using the same logic. You're actually, again, you're avoiding the question. I mean, I understand what you're doing here, Andrew. You're doing the thing. Well, I'm answering it.
Not a Democrat, bro. It's not going to hurt.
No,
abortion is very, very clearly outlined in both Catholic Church and Orthodox.
All right, let's not get back into that. Let's not get back into that.
Bad news for you.
We've done the abortion debate. I want to end, Isobel, by asking you, when you saw Erica Kirk and her address at her husband's memorial, I mean, I got a sense of somebody feeling a very, very strong conviction to take over from him and becoming almost immediately an incredibly powerful advocate, actually, for the Christian conservative right.
I think you're exactly right, Piers. You know, many people are saying that perhaps no one influenced the culture of young men over the past decade as much.
Uh-huh. Let's see that audience share just dip off. I don't need to see the rest of that. Just sitting there glazing at Erica Kirk. To the other cheek. All right, here I had something pulled up. For the fun half. For the fun half. The half where we have fun. Fun half.